the most important factors in all this. So either when we have our two conditions, and there are the two important factors that whenever you perform any differential expression analysis or the t-test, so t-test can be applied with the fpkm values or rpkm values or the tpm values, and the dsec or the hr can be applied when you have the read con data. Always remember this. So you cannot apply t-test when you have a read con data, uh, and you cannot apply, I mean, the HR or DSEC when you have normalized data. So you have to keep always keep these things in mind whenever you want to perform differential gene expression analysis. Then based on the adjusted p-value, you can identify whether your genes are significant or not. So for example, the table that we are getting, so based on the p-value less than 0.05, that is adjusted p-value, we can identify significant genes. Then we can understand whether these genes are upregulated or the downregulated based on the fold chain. So now let's move ahead. So far we have the two conditions where we are performing all these analysis. So what we will do if we have multiple conditions or the factors to analyze, so we can't apply differential gene expression analysis in such scenario. So to address such scenario, we have regression. So regression analysis is a way of mathematically sorting out which of the independent variable have an impact on our data. Here we have a gene expression data. So regression can be employed for both statistical analysis as well as for the machine learning. So if you look at the regression formula, it has both dependent and independent variables in a mathematical equation. Plus we have a this is a y is the dependent variable, then we have a constant, and then we have a coefficient, that is intercept, and this is independent variable. So the dependent variable is related to the independent variable with the additional consideration, that is intercept and the coefficient. So now let's understand this with a simple example. Let's say we have collected the data on eye color, gender, age, height, and the weight of the people. So we hypothesize that some of the are related or some are not. So we also think there are some exceptions. So the age and the height or the weight are related, but not always. So relationship observed in the data can show which variables are related and which are unrelated. So if they are related, so the with the extent we have to measure that as well. So such relationship can be of a several type. It could be a positive, it could be a negative, it could be a linear relationship, it could be a curved linear relationship. So linear regression is a way to further model such a relationship to determine a mathematical function that explaining relationship between a dependent and independent variable in a data set. So if there is a relation, such a function is predictive and will inform us how the dependent variable will change if we change the independent variable. So the goal of regression analysis is to find the right coefficient of this formula that minimize the predictive error based on the data that we have. So the factor regression analysis is one of the methods that employ regression statistics. So it is useful when there are variability or when you have the groups more than two to consider. In case of statistical analysis, that is differential or the t-test, we have the two conditions like ER positive and triple negative. So for example, in this particular example, we have a two groups of these two conditions. Like here we have ER positive and triple negative. These are two conditions. Then we have two groups where this particular mouse model is built, that is we have a nod mice, we have athymic mice. So for the ER positive, and we have two factors that we are need to consider, that whenever this model is developed, it has used two kind of mice model. One is nod positive, other is athymic model. Then for the triple negative, similarly in the triple negative condition, we have again the two mouse model. So here we want to perform analysis between only two cancers conditions. So like here we want to consider that we want to identify genes that are only significant differential between ER positive and triple negative, but not within the mice. So how we here we want to eventually we want to filter out this mice condition. So this in this kind of data, what is the best method that we can employ? That is factor regression analysis. So let me just demonstrate you how we can perform factor regression analysis. So the major aim here that we want to study the condition or the factors when we have more than two factors. So let's again with just move to our server, T-Bioinfo server. So if you are on this server, just let me know that. Meanwhile, just let me share a file regression analysis. Let me share the link of this file. So here we are going to perform factor regression analysis. So as I have already told you that we cannot perform t-test or the differential gene expression analysis when we have a multiple factors to consider. So like ER positive and triple negative breast cancer subtypes, and we have a mice models in which these tumors are developed, that is one is not and another one is athymic. So for each breast cancer subtype we have two mice models, that is not and that athymic. Once you're able to download this file, just let me know that, and let's perform factor regression analysis. So every one of you able to download this file? Samyukta? Okay, so if you're able to download this file, now let's go to perform factor regression analysis. So here under the data integration modeling in the left side, you will get these options, data association and data mining. So under the data mining, there is the fourth sub option, that is factor analysis. So if you click on this factor analysis, so let me again tell you that under the data mining, we have a fourth option, that is factor analysis. So if you click on this factor analysis, so you will direct it to this page. So once you are directed to this page, just let me know about that. So apart from Samyukta, who is able to download the file as well as able to just click on the able to find this option factor analysis? Shreyesh, that's great. So anyone else apart from Samyukta and Shreyesh who is able to download a file that I have shared with you with the link and then able to find the option factor analysis. Let me show you again under the data. If you are on this particular page, that is, just click on the area of analysis. Even if you are not in this page, just click on area of analysis. You will again direct to the main home page of this T-Banfo server. So on the T-Banfo server, again, you will get this option at the fourth, that is on the right side. You under the data integration, you will get an option data mining. So under the data mining, you will get 5 sub options. So then click on the fourth sub option, that is factor analysis. So once you're able to do this, you will direct it to this particular page. Okay, so that's great. Okay, so if you are on any other page, so just click on the area of analysis, then you will get directed to your main page, and then in the right side you will get an option, the data mining. Under the data mining, the fourth option is factor analysis. So let's start with to perform factor regression analysis. Just click on the start. So here this is not a demo pipeline, so here we are going to perform factor regression analysis. So once you click on this, then you just click on the factor analysis. So it's asking whether you want to perform normalization. So if your data is not normalized, so already the data I have provided, it is already log transformed as well as quantile normalized. So I am just using an option no need. Once you do that, here you will get the next option that you will get, that is please add the factors and the numbers of the labels in each vector. As I have already told you that we have two major factors, that is ER positive 1 and the second triple negative. So under that we have how many labels that we have. As we have mice conditions 2, that is we have two conditions, that is athymic and nod. So if you click on this, then you will get the next. Now next, it asking the add file. So in comparison to the other analysis, all the other analysis, we at the first we upload a file. So in case of the factor regression analysis, you actually first provide the conditions, all these factors, how many factors you have, how many conditions you have, then it asking for the option to add a file. So now let me load a file. So I have to upload my file. So once my file get uploaded, then it will give me an option check. So if we go to the check, so here we have got the 4 subgroups now. So we have to drag our files in all these subgroups. So like I have a triple negative athymic, so I am just dragging these two files into the fourth option. So then I have triple negative nod mice. So I have the 2 files here. So I'm dragging into this, the second last option. Then I have ER athymic. So I am dragging 2 of these files into the second subgroup. So then I am left with ER positive and nod. So I am dragging into the first file. So every one of you able to do this, able to drag your samples into 4 subgroups. So just let me know and just type your answer yes. Samyukta, that's great. So Just let me know how many of you able to get this option and able to drag your file into the 4 sub options or the four factors. So apart from Samyukta, any one of you able to upload your file and then able to select the factors or not? So just let me know about it. So once we're done with this, we will able to end this pipeline. So let me give its name, factor regression. So we have 26th October. I'm saving with this and run pipeline. So just for the again, just to repeat it, I'm just repeating the steps here. First, once okay, from the starting, if I just let me show you that once you click on the area of analysis, you will get all these options. Then under the data mining, you will get this option, factor analysis. If you click on this option, then you will go to the factor analysis. Then if you click on a start, once you click on this, then you click on the factor analysis. So normalization method, as my data is already normalized, quantile normalized, so I'm just not choosing this option. So I'm just going with that. Then we have to add the factors. So as we have the two major factors, that ER positive, and so I have added one option. So depending upon our data or data that we have, so we can select the factors. Then I know that within the factors I have to even add to the number of the labels. So I have two labels, that is mice model. So that is node and athymic. So I'm selecting this two. Then again go to the next. So in the next, then we have to upload our file, factor regression analysis. Once our file get uploaded, then we will get an option check. Once you get an option check, so then we will get all these 4 subgroups, and in the 4 subgroups we can drag our files. That is, I'm once in the last subgroup I am dragging the triple negative athymic. Then in the third subgroup I am just dragging my files triple negative node, and then in the second subgroup I am ER and athymic, and in the first subgroup I am dragging my providing my samples ER positive and node. So then we can click on continue. So once you've done that, so then you will get the end option. So here we will get FR. I'm just FRE2, factor regression analysis 4. So now if I go to my pipelines, sorry, let me run it. So if I go to my pipelines, okay, so already my factor regression analysis get completed. So if I click on this, so here under the output files, we will get these option, and here I will get the result. So let me just download this result. Let me show you what we have got it. So every one of you who have run this factor regression analysis got these results. So here at the starting, the columns of course are representing only the samples that we have provided. Then here, so then we have a chi-square values for each of the factors, that is p value. So if you look at these 3 last 3 columns, you will get the p-value with the chi-square test. So here we have the first factors, that is A12, A12, A2. The second B12, B2. So A1 means it indicating that it is giving us A1 and A2. So this is like what were our A1. So A1 was our ER positive, and A2 is a ER with the NOD, then A2 ER with the, that is ER positive with the athymic. Then similarly B1 and B2, we have the another, again these two options, that is we have triple negative with the NOD and the triple negative with the athymic. Then we have this p value where we are considering B1, B2 and A1, A2. So based on, so it indicating whether you are talking about thymic conditions or talking about in the mice. So based on the all these p values, we can select which are the genes that are important for the particular disease condition or particular factor regression condition. So then again the p value, as we have already, sorry, first of all I need to add filters. So then we can decide whether our mice, we want to exclude which kind of the genes which is already significant in only, that is within the mice. So if we want to filter out that, then based on that we can select that. So this is the full, suppose I just want to sort my values based on this, the last column. So this is how you will get, so you can exclude all those values which are actually giving you information within the group. So this is how you can perform factor regression analysis, and you can choose important genes that are only differentially expressed in your desired condition that you want to analyze. So are you able to perform factor regression analysis? How many of you already get these results? And detail of all this related to the factor regression analysis, you will get the detail and you will get a better understanding in the transcriptomics 2 course. So how many of you have able to get these results and able to run your pipeline, and then you get Samyukta got her results? Anybody else? And that's great, Samyukta. Suresh, Neha, that's really great. So this is how you can select your particular condition that is important, and you can filter out the undesirable conditions. If genes is significantly differentially expressed in a undesirable condition, you can filter out those genes. So you can consider, so all these 3 conditions you can consider, or the analysis that you are interested, how many condition you have. So you can filter out using a factor regression analysis. So this is one of the advantage, when you have multiple conditions and multiple factors to analyze, in that scenario, factor regression analysis is very useful. So if you got your results, and let's move ahead with our presentation. Let me pause up for a while. So let me see if you have any question so far with today's session. So you can post your question in the chat box, and I will address that. So you can post your question in the chat box, and I'm just pausing here for 1 minute so that I can look into if you have any question. Okay, so yes, I can. Okay, let me repeat it. How we can filter out all these genes. Let me just reshare my. Okay, so for we will get this p values. So as you can look into this last three columns. So these what it indicating that first the p value for the a into a1 into a2. So in the a1 and a2, if you remember it, so we have first of all we have provided two conditions, right? That is a and the b. In the a, we are talking about like that is ER positive and triple negative. So this is like whether you are talking about the mice condition or the gene condition, right? Oh, sorry, breast cancer subtype or the mice condition. So you can filter out all those genes. Suppose I have already based on the p value, that is b1 and b2 and a1 and a2. So here I'm considering that I want to only filter out the genes that are actually differentially expressed in my breast cancer subtype. So that is what I am talking about, A1 and B1. So this is like I am just considering that my genes only significantly differentially expressed in breast cancer subtypes, not in the mice. So this the last folder, so it will indicating it is between A1 and A2 and B1 B2. So it's considering or one class as B1 B2, that is the breast cancer subtypes, that is triple negative, and the other class it is considering a1 and a2, so it is considering our er positive. So then apart from that we have these two columns where we are getting like whether the mice is there is a differences also between the mice. So if you look at this, so this particular genes, suppose I am just talking about the third gene. So it is significantly differentially expressed even between the mice conditions as well as between the breast cancer subtype. So I cannot take this gene if only because I know that it is also differentially expressed in the mice cancer breast cancer subtypes, right? Sorry, mice model subtypes. So it is significantly differentially expressed in all three conditions, breast cancer subtypes as well as the mice models. So if I'm taking this gene, it will give me a false result. So instead, if I'm taking this particular first gene, so it is not significantly differentially expressed in the breast cancer subtypes, rather it is only significantly differentially expressed in the breast cancer subtype. So this is how we can select the particular gene that is only significant in a desired condition or desired factors. I hope you got your answer. Okay, that's great. So okay, let me move ahead and with today's session, and let's move forward. So let's start with the machine learning. So let me just introduce these machine learning in today's sessions. So what is machine learning? Whenever you heard this term, so many people think about the formulas or maybe some flowcharts, algorithm, while for the computer scientist or the mathematician, these algorithms are definitely more relevant, but that requires in-depth knowledge about these domains. So but here we are interested in how these machine learning methods can help us to study big RNA-seq data. What we will try to do in during this machine learning, that we are limiting the technical details of all these algorithms. Instead, we create logical series of the steps that will illustrate how the methods are useful as well as what they might offer to the study of a biology in RNA-seq data. But then the question arises, why do we need to apply machine learning on RNA-seq data when we have so many statistical analysis methods that we have talk about so far? So the answer is the dimensionality. As we know that these t-test or differential gene expression analysis or the factor regression analysis can be applied when you are actually dealing with the data that having less number of the variables or less number of the dimensions. So it taking the information, like here we are considering like whether this particular gene is significant or not. We are considering like that. So, but as we know that in the RNA-seq data, we have thousands of genes, right? So how we can analyze and visualize such a multi-dimensional data? So if I'm talking about the dimensions, so then I'm talking about the variables. So how we can use this multiple variable information. Say I want to use 100 or the thousands of the genes together and we want to differentiate two conditions. So the answer is that simple statistical methods are not good enough to do that. So here comes the role of a machine learning when we want to employ or to use the information from all those multiple variables. It could be 100, it could be thousands, it could be tens of all those variables. So what are different types of the machine learning methods? They are the two major categories. One is unsupervised and the second is supervised machine learning. Now let me just briefly explain you each category one by one. So unsupervised machine learning is focused on the detection of the pattern in the unlabeled data. So when I'm talking about unlabeled data, that is, we don't know what is the class of the sample. So unlabeled data, we do not have the information related to its class. Its class could be like whether it's a cancer, it's a normal, or whether it's a stage 1 cancer, or it could be a late stage cancer, or it could be a stage 4 cancer. So these kind of class is missing. In that scenario, we are using unsupervised machine learning. So here the main idea is to apply techniques that are automated and rely on various assumptions. The second major category is supervised. So these methods rely on the availability of the training data, or data that has been have already associated with the label or the class of the sample. So what actually in case of supervised machine learning it happens that first it learns the information from the training data that have already labels, and it learns from that training data, and once it learns, then it apply this learned knowledge to analyze a new data or a test data that have missing labeled values. So now let's get a better overview of unsupervised machine learning. So for example, here we have a data set of or the source data with the sample that have a different shapes. So in our case, these combination of the shapes could be a different cell types. So to understand the content of this source data, what we can do is that we can use some kind of machine learning algorithms where we can define the relationship by understanding the characteristics of our data. So like here we have a data types like we have a square, we have a circle. So these kind of information we have. So if we put this information in a formula, we will able to separate this data into the separate groups. So this is in the unsupervised machine learning that it do not have the labels, but it just learn the similarity between a different samples. For example, so it will understand that there are like they are the squares, so it will get this information like what is the similarity between the squares, then it make a different clusters. So the different algorithms that are used for the unsupervised machine learning, it could be a hierarchical clustering, it could be a k-mean clustering, it could be a principal component analysis. So like here, what the result we will get? Like once it learns the pattern within the data set, it will subcluster and make multiple clusters based on the similarity within the data points. Like here we have the three clusters. In the group 1, we have the sample or the data points that have the circular shape, and in the group we are dealing with the polygons, and in the group 3 we are dealing with it. It clustered all those points which have scarce shape. So this is how the unsupervised machine learning methods work. Then we have a supervised machine learning. So the supervised machine learning, as its name indicated, that it is supervised. So first of all, it takes the data that have already labeled. So if we define the labels of this data, like we are defining, this is we have the labels, like here we are defining that these are the scares. So we are like defining those. We are here not just giving this data points, we are also defining the labels. So here we are like we want to define this is circular data, this is kind of polygon data, and this is kind of scare data. So we are defining the labels of this data, and this is for the these labels are present in the training data set. So in particularly in machine learning, in this biomedical data, it could be cancer subtypes. So suppose we have the data points. I am here talking about the scares, means my if we taking it as a cancer subtype, here we are talking about that this is about breast cancer stage 1 data, it could be a breast cancer stage 2 data, and it could be the stage 3 data. So this is how we actually define the label. So these labels are actually present in the training data. So a supervised machine learning method learn from the differences between the various classes present in the training data. Once the learning is established, now you have a model and you develop a model based on the training data. So once it develops its model based on this training data, then a new data, that is a test data. So it able to predict the labels of this new data. So let's understand what are these training or the testing data in the supervised machine learning. So in the training data, as I have already told you, that we have always a class. So apart from this is like a gene expression table where the columns representing the samples and rows representing genes. Apart from these two columns, we always provide a class which defines a sample belong to which class. So this is training data. Then we have a then we have a test data where this label information is missing. So once a model learn or supervised based on the information that is available in the training data, it apply that information and build a machine learning prediction model, and then that model are going to detect the labels of this new data, or we call this data as a test data where labels are not present. So as we have already told you, supervised machine learning deals with the label data. That implies that our data already tagged with some correct class. So then machine learning methods can be categorized as classification methods, where you are just classifying like it belongs to class 1 or a class 2. So you are just dividing into the category. The second supervised machine learning methods category is regression methods. So where actually you are not defining the classes, rather it deals with the real values. So it's like it going to compare based on the value of the gene 1 and the gene 2, it can predict the value of the gene 3. So where it is not just giving you the classes, rather it is also dealing with the continuous method. Those are regression methods. Then what are the different examples that are available for the supervised machine learning? There are the methods like decision tree, random forest, supervised machine learning, that is SVM. Then we have a linear discriminant analysis, LDA. Then we have a logistic regression method, that is also a classification method, machine learning. Then we have a naive Bayes. I'm just giving some of the example, and there are more than 15 to 20 methods are available for the machine learning, supervised machine learning. So what are the major applications of machine learning, specifically in the biomedical data? So for the clinical purpose, this machine learning can be employed for the patient stratification. Suppose we want to classify patient at the high risk or the low risk, or patients that have reoccurrence group. Whether we are talking about this, we can stratify the patient, which are the patients that are going to have a reoccurrence and which do not. Then we can also classify the disease classification, and this machine learning can be used to identify a diagnostic biomarkers, so to predict a particular disease. Then machine learning is also employed for the identification of potential respondent to a therapy or a treatment of the patients. Then it is also used to understand the mechanism of a disease and disease progression. So apart from that, in the pharmaceutical industries, it is used for the biomarker discovery. Then the machine learning is also currently employed for the detection of the toxicity at in vitro stage. Then it is also go through the analysis of the molecule mechanism for drug action, that is target discovery. Then machine learning these days is also employed for the drug repurposing or drug repositioning. So this is just an overview. We will talk about details in our in the session tomorrow and on the Friday in detail regarding supervised and unsupervised machine learning methods. So before the next session, I would ask you to complete the transcriptomics 2. So if you have not go through this data visualization method, so complete it. And as we are going to learn about machine learning methods that are mostly very well explained in the transcriptomics 3. So who have already completed our transcriptomics 2, so they can go through, they can start their transcriptomics 3. So if you have any question for today's session, you just post it. And today we just give an overview of machine learning of both the methods, and the methods that we are going to talk about in detail in our next sessions regarding that is in the next session we will going to talk about. So this is the transcriptomics 3, that is that deals with the supervised machine learning. So in tomorrow's session we are going to going into details of unsupervised machine learning methods, and we will see and we will demonstrate how we can employ unsupervised machine learning methods on a gene expression biomedical data. So if you have any questions for today's session, you can ask, as we are just close to our today's sessions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Harpreet. So please let us know if you have any questions. The chat box is open.
We will take your questions. I think we have 3-4 minutes more, so we can take your questions if you have any queries, or you have even you can run your pipeline after today's session that we have learned today, that is factor regression analysis and DSEC. So if you have completed the transcriptomics 2 course, so if you have already learned about these methods, so if you have yet not completed transcriptomics 2, so you will get better details regarding these factor regression analysis as well as differential gene expression using DSEC2. So you will get better details regarding that in transcriptomics 2 course. So if you have any questions, we can take that.
So we will see you tomorrow again at the same time. And please continue posting your questions in the forum if you have any questions when you're going through the courses. If you have not yet started doing any of the courses, again, please go back and start with the introductory courses and then the Transcriptomics 1 or Transcriptomics 2 if you have not yet completed those. So we'll see you all tomorrow, and thank you so much for attending today. And thank you, Dr. Harpreet, for the wonderful session.